I came across the story because, I had my own, conspiracy theories to talk about. And I want to go into some of the conspiracy theories that we see in or connected to homeschooling. Hi, this is Miss Andrea. Um, can we talk about conspiracies this week? Yeah. So let's start with my business channel. There's something that's really getting on my nerves. Last weekend, we made a video literally entitled How Sliced Bread Finally Became Popular. Okay, that wasn't the original title, but I've found that if a short doesn't take off in the first half hour or so, you go in and change the title, and I guess they look at it again, but somehow it gets flagged and it gets another look. And it took 2 title changes for this one to take off, but it did. And when I took this screenshot, I think it was the day after, and it was at 1.1 thousand views. Not a lot for a short, but I've only gotten a couple of videos over 2,000 views. So 1.1 thousand wasn't bad. And now that the end of the week is approaching, it's more like 1.4 thousand. So literally, it's a story of how someone who created a bread slicing machine finally got people to pick it up and use it because they thought that bread was going to be stale if they pre-sliced the bread. By the way, I have another video from way back that talks about how sliced bread got outlawed during World War II because they needed that steel for the war effort. Anyway, the day after pre-sliced bread, or was it 2 days after? I forget. I did a video called What Happened at Area 51. And that video is specifically about how, while everyone thinks that there probably were aliens in Area 51 because of the UFO, there really was a UFO or UFOs. There just weren't aliens. UFO literally means unidentified flying object. And so what the UFOs were spy balloons trying to detect Russian nuclear testing. And they were balloons filled with like sensors. And when it crashed, like it just seemed real foreign. And so the local military said, well, these are UFOs, because it was secret. So people didn't know what they were. And then, so if you talk about how there were alien bodies at Area 51, those were different tests. And they were testing plane ejection dummies and crash test dummies. Okay, and so like I said in the video, that's the government story. What do you think? And I asked that if people had something to go ahead and leave, a reliable link, so we can have that conversation. No. YouTube said no. It's been days and there are 14 views. It was shown to 20 people. Oh yeah. So what happened at Area 51, where I also changed the title like 3 or 4 times to try and get picked up. And each time it would get like 2 views and then it would get blocked again. Got 14 views. It has 14 views right now. And sliced bread is at about 1,400 views. And you can't tell me, like, vidIQ and Think Media keep saying that YouTube doesn't shadow ban videos. But they clearly block videos from going into the shorts feed. And I don't even get it because, like, my partner's husband has been following them and he's like, okay, so if you, if it seems like AI wrote it, they'll block it. And so I'm real careful to make sure that certain words that you see come up a lot in AI is not in my videos, and I don't go near AI when I'm writing my shorts. When a video got blocked, he said, I think it's because you mentioned death or murder or some other keyword that YouTube just isn't fond of. And so I looked up the keywords, right? And there were like over 1,000. And I'm like, I can't commit this to memory. I'm not even going to keep this list because that'll make me a nervous wreck and I'll never get a short written, right? So here's where I know I'm right. It happened at Area 51. 60%, 65% of people who were shown the video viewed the video, and I think it was over 100% view. So they not only watched it once, but some people watched it multiple times. Now, meanwhile, the video was 1,400 views. Yes. 31% watched it, and 68% swiped away. And that's what makes me mad. Things that make YouTube stop showing my video, in my assessment, is dislikes. I really don't think there should be dislikes on shorts because a lot of people just don't like shorts. And so they just sit there and click dislike. I've been on Reddit and people are like, oh, I just click dislike on shorts so that maybe they'll stop showing me shorts, right? And so I'm spinning my wheels. Do you know what I mean? So there's that. But like percentage viewed, if your percentage viewed is over 100%, which means people are watching it multiple times, that should be good, right? If you're 65% watched and 35% swiped away, that should be good too. So with that said, if my video that's at 1.4 thousand is getting 31.8 viewed and 68.2% swiped away, then the video that's not getting any views should be 6,000 or 7,000. So I just wish they would just go ahead and give us the caveat, or when you put in a title, get some kind of flag and say, we don't like this. Do you know what I mean? But then there's a bigger dilemma. There is, but then, yeah. Sliced bread, average percentage viewed, 46.4%, right? And Area 51 was like 118. So clearly the audience, YouTube says it's not the algorithm, it's the audience. Clearly the audience liked the other video, but YouTube decided no. And so, yeah, that's my conspiracy. But let's talk about some other stuff, okay? So, UFC feather contender Bruce Mitchell, aka Thug Nasty, claimed he would not send his son to public schools, preferring his child be homeschooled. We're all homeschooled here, or we're all very homeschooled adjacent, right? So cool. UFC is the Ultimate Fighting Championship, which is an American mixed martial arts promotion company based in Las Vegas, Nevada. So that's how he's famous, okay? The reason behind him saying that his son and his kids would only be homeschooled is because, and I quote, we're going to have to homeschool our kids or they're all in. So he also believes his son Tucker would have communist ideologies if he were not homeschooled. He wants his child to read the Bible and not the works of Edgar Allan Poe. I came across the story because, I had my own, conspiracy theories to talk about, and I want to go into some of the conspiracy theories that we see in or connected to homeschooling. And so, here's a doozy. The Christian schooling and homeschooling environment is an established breeding ground for the far-right white supremacist conspiracies undergirding Q-Anon. That was written in 2021 when Q-Anon was big. And I've mentioned several times before that everyone's like, are you homeschooling because you're Christian? Are you homeschooling, because, you want more God and less world, in your children's education, like, why are you homeschooling? And I still think, even though I see it, even though I see pockets, I'm not blind. Even though I see pockets of it, I still feel like the majority of homeschoolers, especially the majority of homeschools that I encounter, are more worldly, are more mainstream, are more everyday average Joe Schmo, and don't homeschool because they're afraid someone different might touch their child. But you're always going to find those people. You're always going to find extremists in every crowd. Believe it or not, there are also far left extremists in homeschooling. I've seen those also. So there's a myth of academic performance that homeschooled students graduate college at a higher rate than their peers. The myth says that 66.7% of homeschooled kids graduate college compared to 57.5% of non-homeschooled kids, and earn higher grade point averages along the way, according to a study that compared students at one doctoral university. Not all homeschool kids go to college. A lot of homeschool kids skip college altogether. They're like, I learned on my own this far, why am I going to college? But, and the homeschool program I run is college prep. So I want all my kids either going to college or ready to go to college. So, but keeping in mind that homeschool kids will skip college or go to college later, right? And so if a homeschool child does go to college, they actually take it seriously. So if you're seeing those numbers, if those numbers are true, and this study was 2004 to 2009, so we're almost 20 years out, right? But if you're seeing those numbers, it's because when a homeschool kid goes to college, they're there with an agenda to get it done, to do well, and to maybe move on and get a master's degree because they know what they want to study. They know what program they need to take. They know that if they're going to do another higher level of study, like a master's or a PhD, they need to do well in their undergrad. And so that might be why we're seeing those numbers. I believe that when homeschool kids go to college, they do well. I believe that when homeschool kids finish homeschooling, they have a good sense of who they are and what they want to do. And so they're just more serious about it. College is not playtime. And so I just don't ever want to lie to people and say, if you homeschool your kids, they're going to definitely go to college. They're going to do better in college. No, they're going to have a good sense of self and they're going to have a good sense of purpose. And so they're going to do things with intention. I feel like that's more important, don't you? So at the end of the day, I believe that today's students need to know how to take in and vet information because we are surrounded by conspiracies and conspiracy theories, right? I don't worry so much about them memorizing and being able to recall presidents' names and dates, things like that. I do want them to be able to mentally do math up to a certain level, but I don't need them to be able to mentally recall everything because, like, we have these. These are very high-powered computers, and we keep them in our pockets at all times. So what I need them to do is to see information and go, weird. And then research that information. Look at the sites it's coming from. Look at where sites got that information, like trace the original information and figure out where it came from and who put it on the net and, try to decipher what their motives were because there's so much information on the net, but that it's more important for kids to be able to vet and decipher the information they have than to memorize it, okay? So I think for homeschoolers, in my opinion, the most important thing that we can teach them is to pay attention and to research and to verify what they've learned, rather than just have a set of Encyclopedia Britannicas in their head. So, till next time.